Welcome to the Project Management Prepcast, helping you prepare for the PMP exam. Here's your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner.
Hello and welcome to the Project Management Prepcast, where we manage and track your journey to the PMP exam. I'm your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner. This lesson is all about managing your project team. Mastery of this area is helpful for the PMP exam and provides you with information you can use to become a better project manager. In this lesson, you learn how to best influence the performance and behavior of the project team. Let's take a look at what this lesson encompasses. We begin with a discussion of the role of the project manager in managing the project team. We learn what kinds of things a project manager, what you and I, have to do. And when we say manage the project team, who are we talking about? How does the project management team fit into this picture here? We compare the different processes in the project human resource management knowledge area to study how manage the project team compares as it relates to organizing, managing, and leading your human resources overall. We then take a closer look at inputs which feed into the managed project team process. There are some inputs which are outputs of other HR processes, but others which are not. We also take note of the circular nature of project management, how past performance can affect and influence future performance. Then we will also see how effective simple observation and conversation can be and how to go about it. We discuss performance appraisals and 2 ways in which feedback can be delivered. Next, we transition to some of the more dramatic areas, shall we say, of project management, which is how to handle conflicts. Here we explain how you, as the project manager, can utilize specific approaches to deal with different circumstances around conflict. And finally, we aim to understand change requests and different updates that result from managing the team. And wow! You can probably guess by this long lesson overview that we had to cut this lesson here into 2 parts. Yes, here in part 1 you'll hear a general overview and then all about the inputs. This corresponds to the topics that we listed in the first slide that you have just seen in the lesson overview. And then in part 2 we'll talk about the tools, techniques and outputs that we have. In other words, the items listed on the second slide of the lesson overview that you have just seen. So let's go all the way to the top of this knowledge area and take a look at what it is all about. To get a high-level overview of human resources management, let's look at the 3 key cornerstones of the knowledge area. Project human resources management includes the processes that enable you as a project manager to best organize your resources and then also manage the resources and making them efficient, and also lead the project team to greater heights and effectiveness. Or, in the official words from the PMBOK guide, project human resource management includes the processes that organize, manage, and lead the project team. And to help us with organizing, managing, and leading the project team, we have 4 processes that are recommended by the PMBOK guide. The first one is plan human resource management. As in most knowledge areas, the first process is a planning process. This is the process of identifying and documenting project roles, responsibilities, required skills, reporting relationships, and creating a staffing management plan. Once we know how we're going to manage our human resources, we can acquire our project team in the process of confirming human resource availability and obtaining the team that is necessary to complete your project activities. Once the team is on board, well, we're going to have to develop them in the develop project team process, the process of improving competencies, team member interaction, and overall team environment to enhance project performance. But we don't only have to develop them, we also have to manage our project team. This is the process of tracking team member performance, providing feedback, resolving issues, and managing team changes to optimize our project's performance. And here is our usual table that shows you into which process group our individual processes falls. Our focus is on the last of these four, manage project team here. So the first one, plan human resources management, is planning in the planning process group, then acquire project team and develop project team, both in the executing process group. Now, manage project team, what do you think? Does this fall into monitoring and controlling? Does this fall into executing, or does it possibly even fall into closing? Well, it falls into the executing process group. This is because we are providing feedback to our project team in this particular process. We resolve issues and we manage team changes to optimize our project performance. So the focus here is on execution rather than on monitoring and controlling of our team. Therefore, manage project team is a executing process. So the main concept that you have to understand is that in this process you will, well, yes, manage your team. You as the project manager, you have to apply a lot of those soft skills that we hear so much about. You will have to observe your team, make note of their behaviors, and then provide feedback. And you will also have to give performance appraisals to the people that are working for you. This process is called Manage Project Team, and at this point you should be familiar with not only the project team but also the project management team, because this process covers both of these groups. So let's make sure that we're very clear on the difference between the project team and the project management team by reviewing the definitions from the PMBOK guide. So, the project team is a set of individuals who support the project manager in performing the work of the project to achieve its objectives. And the project management team on the other side there, however, is the members of the project team who are directly involved in project management activities. So we see that the project management team is a subset of the larger project team, but on smaller projects, the project management team may just consist of the project manager and maybe one assistant, or the project manager on his or her own. With that said, let's shift back to see how manage the project team may be similar or different from the other project human resource management processes. We've learned that the PMBOK guide defines project human resources management as the knowledge area that includes the processes that organize, manage, and lead the project team. And we also know into which process group each of our four processes fall. But the key action words we want to take a look at right now are organize, manage, and lead. And we want to see which of these four processes actually help us achieve organizing, managing, and leading our project team. Okay, so the first one is plan human resources management. This is where you organize your project team, or rather this is where you organize how you will be managing your project team. You see that acquire project team, our second process, is still part of organizing here. You can't manage or lead people who you do not yet have on your team. So you're still in the organizing stage of your project team. And therefore, as a consequence, once you have acquired your project team and you moved on to the develop project team process and then on to the manage project team process, you will be managing and leading your project team in those two processes. So this is how our four processes fall onto these three words that you heard every time that we did a review of the knowledge area of human resources management. But since both develop project team and manage project team fall under the categories of managing and leading our project team, what is the focus in each of these two processes? Well, let's take a look at the definition of the words develop from develop project team and then also manage from our current process here, manage project team. So develop project team. Here about developing, we're trying to improve competencies, team member interaction and overall team environment to enhance project performance. And then when we manage our project team, we want to track the team member performance, we want to provide feedback, resolving issues and managing team changes to optimize project performance. So as you can see, the focus of the develop project team process is to ensure that we have the necessary skills and expertise on our team, if necessary, through training. And here in the manage project team process, on the other hand, this is more about leading and administratively running the team. We're moving on to the inputs, tools, techniques and outputs, and here is our usual overview taken from the PMBOK guide. So there are 6 inputs that we have, many of which we've seen before in the project human resources management or other knowledge areas. Then we see 4 tools and techniques, interesting tools and techniques which require the soft skills from you as a project manager. And there are again 5 outputs for this process. One has to do with change requests, which we have seen before, while the other 4 are different types of updates. In the following slides, we'll take a closer look at each of these ITTOs as you are used to, and although we've seen many of these before, it's important to see how they are specifically used and are significant for this process here, manage project team. So once again, we have 6 inputs to this process: the Human Resources Management Plan, the Project Staff Assignments, Team Performance Assignments, the Issues Log, Work Performance Reports, as well as Organizational Process Assets. And if you look at this logically, it won't come as a big surprise to you if I tell you that the first of these 3 inputs, the Human Resource Management Plan, the Project Staff Assignments, and the Team Performance Assessments, that they come to us from the other processes in project human resources management, in this knowledge area. That makes studying them a lot easier for us right here, because we don't have to look at these 3 so closely, so in depth. So let's not delay and get to it. So the outputs of the other project human resource management processes become inputs to this process here, managing the project team. This is nothing unusual. The outputs of this process will become inputs to other processes. So first we have the human resources management plan. This is the output of plan human resource management of that process. The human resource management plan, among other things, contains roles and responsibilities as well as the staffing management plan. Both are relevant to managing the project team. Second input, the project staff assignments. This is an output of the acquire project team process. It contains the list of our project team members. And then finally, the third input, that is an output from another process, team performance assessments. This was described as an output of the develop project team process. These assessments are an avenue for you to communicate and take action to enforce positive or discourage negative behavior. It's a way to resolve or fix performance issues. Team performance assessments do not have to be formal to be effective. Informal assessments may be more practical and make more sense in certain situations. Next, we use a simple issues log as an input to manage our team. It may seem strange to have the issues log at this point, because the issues log looks more like something that you would employ doing project integration management. Well, managing your project team is an executing process, and therefore keeping an issues log to document and monitor the issues that are on the table with your project team is very important. It keeps track of the related included who, what, and when details of the issues. In other words, who is responsible for taking care of an issue and what action are they having to take, and by when are we targeting that the issue is being resolved. The issues log is a very useful input as it clearly assigns responsibilities and helps you manage the team. Our next input are the work performance reports, which are defined as the physical or electronic representation of work performance information compiled in project documents intended to generate decision, actions, or awareness. Yes, that's the PMBOK guide definition there for you. In other words, these work performance reports, they tell us the status of our project, including a comparison of current versus forecasted numbers. So we know exactly that we are ahead of schedule in work package 1, but behind schedule on work package 2. Work performance reports would include performance in relation to schedule control, cost control, quality control, as well as scope validation and other things. These work performance reports provide information which you can use to better focus your own work and your team's work. As the project manager, these reports will not only help increase your overall awareness, but can trigger a decision or action on your part. Perhaps it is to investigate further on a quality control issue, or to work more closely with a team member who is way behind schedule. Let's take a look at where these work performance reports come from by looking at the full project management process. So, first of all, we planned our project and defined when each work package should be started and finished. Then we brought the necessary human resources onto our team, and these resources then performed the actual project work. And now we can measure the actual project work and compare it against our plan. And once the results of this project work were compared against the plan, the work performance reports were created. And now we can take these work performance reports and use them as a team management tool. All of this may now once again lead to a replanning effort. If you look at this circle, you will probably have noticed that the items here, plan, hire, resources, perform work, and so on, they're all processes in the PMBOK guide. We just didn't call them by their official name. What we want to show you with this slide is twofold. First, it shows in general the very clear nature of project management. Second, and more specifically, you can now see the performance feedback loop. Naturally, you could think of a work performance report as an output which documents your work performance measurements. However, through this cycle, your past influences your future. The work performance reports factor in how the project team is managed. Organizational process assets are next. Now, haven't we heard that before? It refers to all kinds of documents and records from within your company. In general, they can be plans, policies, procedures, guidelines, knowledge bases. So, for example, we have corporate apparel. Doesn't this chef look like she is set for the work ahead here? What she is wearing is very functional. A chef needs a clean apron and hat to ensure complete food safety. But many times corporate apparel, a uniform, a cap, a bag, or with a corporate logo, or even a general style of dressing, can provide a sense of identity and belonging to the organization or the team. It sets the tone. Many places of work also have a dress code, which is a reflection of your organization's culture. Many organizations have strict policies which dictate corporate apparel. There is also a set of organizational process assets which have to do with corporate communications, and this may include newsletters and websites. Since we're talking about inputs here, the project team can receive information from these sources. Later, we will see that this can serve as an output as well when we update it as a place to share information. For example, when you want to announce the accomplishment of your project team or project team members. Organizational process assets also include plans, policies, and procedures which relate to working hours or the ability to work flexibly or from home. Of course, these are very important in how you manage the team. You need to make sure that your project and team are aligned with these policies and procedures. And in the Manage Project Team process, we're also looking for assets that pertain to the management of a team, such as policies for rewarding employees. Maybe your company has a bonus structure in place, or certificates of appreciation, or a recognition dinner for outstanding performance for which you can nominate your team members. These rewards, small or large, can sometimes make a big difference. These are some of the assets that you will need to be aware of. The project management team must have access to all these organizational process assets in order to be able to manage the team according to the rules and regulations of your company. I'm sure you can think of many more that apply to your organizations and to your projects specifically. And with that, we have come to the end of part 1 here in this lesson. So it's time for Justine to say,
have a good one.
And I say, until next time.